Tomorrowland movie recap script. The story begins in 1964 at the New York World's Fair. A young boy named Frank Walker carries a large duffel bag through the crowded exhibition halls, excited and nervous. Inside the bag is a jetpack he built himself. He enters the Hall of Inventions and presents his invention to a panel of judges. The head judge is a man named David Nix, who examines the jetpack and tells Frank it does not work. The jetpack can only lift Frank a few inches before it stops. Nix dismisses him without a second thought, but a young girl in the crowd watches the whole thing differently. Her name is Athena. She walks over to Frank and tells him she can see that his jetpack almost works. She hands him a small orange lapel pin with a blue letter T embossed on it and tells him to follow her to the It's a Small World ride. Frank is confused, but follows her. He climbs into a boat on the ride alone. The pin gets scanned by a hidden laser, and the boat is redirected through a concealed passage beneath the attraction. Frank finds himself in a tunnel that opens onto a vast futuristic city unlike anything he has ever seen. This is Tomorrowland. Flying vehicles move through the sky above gleaming towers. Advanced robots walk through the streets below. Frank steps out onto a platform and falls off the edge. His duffel bag drops with him. At the bottom, a robot picks up the jetpack and examines it. Frank watches as the robot repairs his invention on the spot, fixing everything that was wrong with it. Frank straps it on and launches into the air and soars above the city. He lands in front of Nix and Athena. Nix seems mildly impressed this time. Athena smiles at Frank warmly. The story then jumps to the present day. Casey Newton is a teenager in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Her father, Eddie, is a NASA engineer whose launch site is being shut down and demolished by the government. Casey sneaks into the facility at night and sabotages the demolition equipment one machine at a time, trying to delay the destruction long enough for someone to change their mind about shutting it all down. The site is her father's life, and she cannot watch it be torn apart without doing something. She is eventually caught and arrested. At the police station, her belongings are returned to her in a bag. When she reaches in, she finds a pin she did not put there, a small orange pin with a blue T, just like the one from 1964. She touches it and is instantly transported into a vision. She is standing in a bright field under a sunny sky. In the distance, she can see Tomorrowland, a city of extraordinary technology rising above the horizon. She walks toward it, and the vision is vivid and real and completely unlike anything she has experienced before. The pin runs out of power, and the vision cuts out. She is standing in the parking lot of the police station. Casey becomes obsessed with finding out where the pin came from. With her younger brother Nate's help, she traces it to a memorabilia shop in Houston that specializes in obscure space and future-themed items. She goes to the shop and asks the two owners, Hugo and Ursula, about the pin. They are immediately suspicious and want to know where she got it. When she cannot tell them anything about the little girl who gave it to her, they attack her. Before anything serious happens, Athena bursts through the door and fights both of them off with impressive speed and strength. Hugo and Ursula both self-destruct, blowing apart and destroying the shop around them. They were robots, animatronic assassins disguised as shop owners. Athena pulls Casey outside and steals a car. While they drive, Athena tells Casey the truth about herself. She is also an animatronic, a highly advanced robot designed specifically to recruit the right kind of people for Tomorrowland. Her job has always been to find dreamers and thinkers and inventors, the kind of people who believe the future can be better and have the intelligence and determination to help make it so. Athena chose Casey because of exactly those qualities. She tells Casey the place she saw in the pin's vision is real and it needs help because someone built something that should not have been built. Athena drives Casey to a house in Pittsfield, New York. She drops Casey off and drives away. Casey walks up to the door and knocks. An older man answers. He is gruff and suspicious and tells her immediately to leave. This is Frank Walker, now in his 50s, bitter and isolated, living alone in a house packed with inventions and devices he has built over the decades. He was banished from Tomorrowland years ago and wants nothing to do with the place. Casey pushes past him and goes inside. She finds a machine built into the wall that is counting down a doomsday counter showing the probability of the world ending. The percentage reads nearly 100. Frank tells her the future is fixed. The world will end, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. Casey refuses to believe him. She argues back. refusing to accept that the future is already decided. The moment she does this, the counter drops slightly. The probability falls. Frank stares at it. In all the years that machine has been running, he has never seen the number go down. He does not understand what just happened. Before he can think about it, the house is attacked. Animatronic assassins sent by Tomorrowland come through the doors and windows. Frank has built extensive defenses into his home, and he uses all of them, fighting the robots off alongside Casey. They get out of the house and meet Athena in the woods nearby. Frank is furious with Athena for years of things he has not forgiven. He resents that she never told him what she really was when he was young. Athena does not argue with him. She tells him Casey is the most promising person she has found in a very long time and that she needs to get to Tomorrowland. Frank finally agrees to help. He takes them to a hidden room in his house that contains a teleportation device. The device sends the three of them to the top of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Inside the tower's upper structure, they find a chamber with 4 wax figures of men: Gustave Eiffel, Jules Verne, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison. Frank tells Casey and Athena the history while they move through. These 4 men were the founders of Plus Ultra, a secret society created in the 19th century specifically to bring together the world's greatest thinkers and inventors in a place free from governments and politics and commercial interference. They discovered a dimension running parallel to our own and built Tomorrowland there, a city entirely dedicated to human ingenuity and the advancement of science. Below the Eiffel Tower is an old rocket called the Spectacle, sealed inside a steampunk-style chamber. They board it. The rocket launches vertically through a passage inside the tower, up through the atmosphere and into space, then turns and comes back down through the clouds toward what looks like an empty stretch of land. The portal opens and they arrive in Tomorrowland. What they find is not what Frank remembers. The gleaming city of his childhood is gone. The buildings are still standing, but they are dark and deteriorating. The streets are empty. The technology that once filled the place with motion and light and sound has gone quiet. The city is a ruin of its former self. David Nix meets them there. He is now the governor of Tomorrowland. He is still composed and precise, the same man who dismissed Frank's jetpack decades ago. But something in him has changed. He does not seem particularly glad to see any of them, including Casey. He tells Frank he was not supposed to come back. He leads all 3 of them to the center of the city, to a large building containing a machine that was built using tachyons particles that travel backward through time. The machine is called the Monitor. Frank designed it. It can observe events from any point in history, past or future. Nix uses the Monitor to show Casey what is coming. The images play out across a large screen: natural disasters, widespread destruction, the collapse of civilization, the end of human life on Earth. The clock says it will happen in 53 days. The probability is effectively 100%. Nix tells her it is not possible to stop and that they have been watching it approach for years. Casey refuses. She stands up and tells Nix she does not accept this. She argues directly at the screen, telling him this is not the future she will allow. And as she argues, the probability counter flickers. The future on the screen wavers. A different image appears for just a moment, a version of tomorrow that is not destroyed. Then it disappears. Frank sees it. He saw the same thing happen with his doomsday counter at his house. Casey's refusal to accept a bad outcome actually changes the probability reading on the machine. Nix sees it too. But instead of treating this as hope, he shuts it down. He has all 3 of them locked in a cell. Locked in the cell, Casey turns on Athena. She tells her she should never have given her the pin. The Tomorrowland she was shown was a lie. Everything she was promised turned out to be a decaying, empty city with a machine predicting the end of the world. Athena listens and then tells her something important. The machine is the problem, not the future itself. The Monitor was built to warn humanity that a catastrophe was coming. It was supposed to shock people into changing course. But instead of inspiring action, the broadcasts of doom and disaster fed into human culture and entertainment and media until the world became obsessed with destruction and collapse without feeling any urgency to prevent it. The machine created a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more it broadcast images of the end, the more humanity normalized those images, and the more certain the end became. They escape from the cell. Frank confronts Nix directly. He tells him this was not what Tomorrowland was built for. Nix admits that he tried. He broadcast the warnings for years. Nobody listened. Nobody changed anything. Humanity simply absorbed the apocalyptic images and made them into stories and entertainment and ignored the actual threat. He gave up. He decided to let the end come so he could rebuild afterward. Frank tells him that giving up and accelerating the catastrophe is not rebuilding it, is simply destruction with extra steps. Casey and Frank try to use the small bomb Frank brought as an insurance policy to destroy the monitor. During the struggle, the bomb goes through a portal and lands on an uninhabited island on Earth, where the explosion pins Nix under falling wreckage, trapping his leg. He is wounded, but still has a weapon, and still intends to stop them. Athena uses the tachyon field around the machine to see a split second into the future. She sees Nix raise his weapon and fire at Frank. She sees Frank fall. She steps directly into the line of fire. The shot hits her. The damage is severe and irreparable. She is a robot, and she knows exactly what the damage means. She has very little time left. She walks to Frank and takes his hand. She tells him she is sorry she never told him what she was when he was young. She tells him he was her first, the first dreamer she ever found and recruited. She tells him she is proud of everything he built and everything he is. Frank holds on to her and does not want to let go. Athena activates her self-destruct sequence. The explosion destroys the monitor completely. The tachyon machine goes dark. The signal it has been broadcasting into human consciousness for decades cuts off instantly. The wreckage falls across the chamber. Nix is killed. The monitor is gone. Frank and Casey stand in the ruins and look at what remains. Tomorrowland is still standing around them. Damaged, quiet, empty but standing. The infrastructure is intact. The technology is still there. It just needs people who believe in it. Frank and Casey take over the leadership of Tomorrowland. They bring in Casey's father Eddie and her brother Nate. They begin the work of rebuilding. And they build something new, a new generation of animatronic recruiters, small and childlike, designed in the spirit of what Athena was. They give each one a supply of pins, just like the one Athena gave to Frank in 1964 and the one she slipped into Casey's belongings at the police station. The robots go out across the world into cities and schools and libraries and fields, finding the dreamers and the builders and the thinkers. The people who look at a broken future and refuse to accept it. They press a pin into each one's hand and let Tomorrowland do the rest. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss videos like this. Thanks for watching.